Alright boys and girls, it's time for another beer review. This time it is homebrew related and it's my New England IPAs, version 2 versus version 3. Which one is better? Who knows? It's been a while since I've done a homebrew update, far less a tasting, a good number of weeks, and long story short, been through a bit of a tough time the last few weeks or so. I've had an exceptionally sore back, and kind of my medication and or some of my medication and that wasn't compatible with alcohol, and I've been absolutely gagging for a brew. I have to admit, I have been. So these two brews are completely different recipes, completely made up by myself, have some similar hops in it, and use the same yeast that I've essentially used for the first time in these two brews. So a couple of shouts out to Steve at BrewMountain. Please go and check out his channel. He's recently reviewed my two NEIPAs, and glad you liked them, and thank you very much for that. So please check out his channel and sub him accordingly. And also a big shout out again to Hapless. He was very kind enough to buy the Lal Brew New England East Coast IPA in bulk and distributed it in amongst the homebrew community at cost. So that was very nice of him. So if the Hapless, if you're tuning in or you managed to hear about this or see it, please let me know your, please PM me your address and I'll send you a couple of bottles. If they turn out to be any good, I'll keep them myself. No, I'm not joking. I'll send you a couple. Not entirely sure how they're going to go. Guess we'll see soon in this taste testing, but did have difficulties in the brew of version 2, and had both issues with in the sense that I had so much going on in my life at the time that it's had both had an extensive dry hops. I really hope they're not too bitter, too grassy in taste, but time will tell. So I'll just very quickly run through the grain bills. Version 2 was 770 grams of Maris Otter, 173 of Cara malt, 72 grams of Crystal 60, 66 grams of torrefied wheat, could have used wheat but I was just using up torrefied wheat, and 56 grams flaked oats, 30 grams Carapils. Hops were 5 grams of Simcoe at 15, 7.5 grams of Citra at 10, 10 grams of Simcoe at 5, 10 grams of Citra at 0 or flame out, and 25 grams of Simcoe and 5 grams of rack out after about 4 or 5 days, and left it for about a week and a half. That one. Version 2 was 591 grams of Pilsen, 310 of lager, 100 grams of flaked corn, 60 grams of Carapils, and 60 grams of flaked oats. And hops were 5 grams of Mosaic. Well, when I say Mosaic, I got a mystery bag of hops from Brew UK. It was either, because it'd been mislabeled or not labelled, it was between Mosaic, Citra, and Mandarin and Bavaria. I actually have no idea what it is. Never had Mosaic. The mystery hops had a different colour and smell to both Mandarin, Bavaria and Citra that had, but I know like from year to year different crops can have different colours anyway, so I'm hoping it is Mosaic, but I don't actually know. So when I say Mosaic, it might be a complete mystery, but one of those three. So anyway, it was 5 grams of Mosaic at 15, 7.5 grams of Mosaic at 10, 10 grams of Mosaic at 5, 10 grams of Mosaic at 0 or flame out. After 4 days, I put in 15 grams of Citra and 15 grams of Simcoe. And after 7 days, I put in 4 grams of Amarillo, 4 grams of Citra, 4 grams of Rakow, and 2.75 grams of Simcoe, because I think that's just what I had left. And both brews were the Lal Brew New England East Coast Ale Yeast. And again, I left that dry hopping for, I think, almost 2 weeks. So, probably shouldn't be reviewing them yet. They've only about 2 to 3 weeks in the bottle. This one was bottled on the 7th, and this one was bottled on the 14th. So what we're talking, 3 weeks in the bottle, 2 weeks in the bottle. I normally give it a month. I know New England IPAs are meant to be drunk quite young to sort of take advantage of the aroma and taste, but given that they've been dry hopped for so long, I maybe should be waiting a bit longer just for the bitterness and or grassiness to die down. But like I said at the start, long story short, I'm gagging for a beer. So without further ado, let's crack them open. So it's been in the fridge since yesterday, and they've been out of the fridge for about half an hour. And so this one was meant to be about 43 IBUs. Let's open up and see what she's like. So a wee bit of a hiss, a little bit of can smoke, and give this one a wee bit of an aggressive pour, and we'll just slow it down. Now there is beginning to be a little bit of sediment coming through. I don't mind a little bit as long as it's not too much, and that's it's beginning to get a little bit heavier with the sediment towards the end, so I'll just stop that there. That's what that one looks like. Let's now open up version 3. Again, hiss, not much can of smoke in this one, so I'll maybe give this one a little bit of an aggressive pour also. Just to give it a semi-decent head. And then slow the pour down a little towards the end. And there's a small amount of sediment beginning to come through and or hot matter. I don't mind a little bit again coming through, but when it gets a bit more, I've sacrificed about that much in the bottle for both of them, roughly speaking. So I'll get a cloth and I'll wipe these down a little bit. So the light isn't the best in here, but even swapping these around, you could probably see that that one is darker. Yep, and that is the version 2. So let's dive in. Or actually, just before that, we'll just analyse this a little bit more. So it's probably what, amberish in colour, maybe kind of slightly conker colour, probably darker than I was maybe hoping, but heads dissipated a little bit, maybe a little bit of lacing, reasonably small bubbles, not really much carbonation that's obvious, but let's go in for the smell. Oh, very, very tropical on the nose. What was in this one again? Citra and Simcoe. A little bit of Rakow. Yeah, I mean, passion fruit, mango, tropical. Very, very inviting. Lovely. I'll just analyse this other one and then I'll taste them both together. So, obviously a lot lighter in colour, as you can see. Maybe a sort of a burnt orange, kind of orangey colour. Heads also dissipated. Again, oh, you can actually see the carbonation through this one. It might not be able to see it on camera, but you can see the bubbles coming up. Heads dissipated, but again, probably actually maybe medium-sized bubbles compared to the small ones on this one. Oh, also very tropical, but I would say this one's edging more towards you do ever so slightly get a very tiny, I'm talking about a little dinky bit of pininess, but not a lot. That might be the Rakow potentially, or just the fact that I've dry hopped it a little bit too long. But yeah, both smell different, but both very fruity, very tropical, very Moorish. Different kind of smells, but oh, cracking! I can't wait to dive into these. Not too bitter, for me anyway. I don't actually detect much bitterness at all. I'll just go in for another one. Good mouthfeel, medium. You do pick up the caramel notes. Probably do get a little bit of bitterness, ever so slight bit of dryness at the back end, but nothing too bad, nothing too like stringent. Very nice. Maybe just lacks a little bit of sweetness, just personal taste, but I have to say it's very, very nice. Let's try version 2. Also very nice, very smooth, both very smooth. This one's, I would say, is more bitter. Recipe wise, probably only a couple of IBUs in it, but possibly just because it's a week newer or not as old, maybe the bitterness just hasn't quite, curtailed. Yeah, it's most definitely a little bit bitter. Not in an overly bitter way, but I think this is probably going to die down a little bit. Maybe a little bit thinner bodied, this one. ABVs, what did they end up again? Let me just double check. Version 2 ended up 6.6%, and from memory I think this one was probably about 7.3. Yeah, 7.3, so 6.6 and 7.3. So probably ever so slightly more alcoholic than what was intended. I think I was aiming for about 6 or just over 6, so not a million miles away. Now, all important question, which one do I prefer? That's a tricky one. Just because, it's hard. This one, both smell absolutely fantastic. I think I prefer the smell of version 3. Version 2's a bit sweeter, and I think it needs it. Probably because maybe not overly bitter, but I think it just more balanced. The caramel kind of seems to complement the fruits a little bit more. It's hard. I prefer the smell of this one. I think I probably prefer the taste of this one. I thought my money was on version 3, but I think I actually prefer version 2. Now that might just be an age thing, and I might post an update in the days or weeks to come when I obviously taste them again in the next week or two. But I think if this just had a little bit less bitterness and a little bit more sweetness, I'd probably prefer this one. But on doing a side by side, I have to say that version 2 is the winner. Okay, so thanks very much for watching, boys and girls. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up. Please comment if you're interested or want to comment upon any of these beers or want the recipes. And finally, if you like what you're seeing or love what you're seeing, please subscribe me. Thanks very much. Cheers, guys. Bye.